Now, the DCI is on high alert after 3 terror suspects escaped from Committee Security Maximum Prison on Monday at 1 a.m. The 3 include Mohammed Ali Bikar, who is part of the terrorists who carried out the 2015 Garissa University terror attack, Joseph Juma Othiembo, alias Yusuf, and Mashraf Abdallah Akulunga, alias Zarkawi. The state has put a 20 million shillings bounty on each of the terrorists' head, and this comes barely a week after police announced that some 5 armed and dangerous terrorists, including missing terror convict Eljiva Bwire, had escaped from Committee prison and were at large. On their official Twitter handle, the DCI has described the 3 as dangerous and urges the general public to report any sightings of the 3. I want us to talk about this escape with Judge Msomali, who is a security expert, and he is joining us by way of phone, even as we understand that 7 prison wardens have been arrested. Msomali, good morning. Can you hear me? Judge Msomali, good morning.
Good morning. I can hear you.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us. First of all, I want to get your initial reaction on this prison break. I mean, as a security expert, what do you rule? What do you make of this escape?
This is very worrying, bearing in mind that these people have escaped from a maximum security prison, not a medium or low security prison. It clearly shows we have problems in our security agencies. And this is very dangerous, bearing in mind that already we have an alert about a possible terror attack. And now this group, joining the others, these have already been convicted, joining the other group that is out here, the other cells, then definitely we are having a very serious security threat.
Mm-hmm. Indeed, and they appear, rather they have escaped from the most, they have vanished from Committee Maximum Prison, which is quite the, a highly guarded prison in this country. And for such a scenario to have appeared, then where does this leave the security agencies in this country?
Absolutely, that is the most guarded prison that we have in the country. Mm-hmm. And this is where hardcore prisoners are detained for correction. And when I look at what has happened in Committee, 3 things come into mind. And the most serious one, number 1, is the possible infiltration of our security apparatus by the Al-Shabaab. This escape could not have happened without insider help. And that is what I'm saying, do we have people that have joined the security services that are collaborators or sympathizers of the Al-Shabaab? Mm-hmm. Because this kind of escape needs elaborate planning. It needs finances, who was financing the planning and everything. So we have to look at this very closely. Let us look at our security agencies, confirm or find out if we've been infiltrated and take corrective action. Mm. Number 2, the hand of corruption. It's not possible that 3 people who are supposed to be under watch 24/7 could walk out of a maximum security prison. And this is a problem that we've been having in Kenya for quite some time, where we have corruption playing a key role in the facilitation or helping in facilitation of terror attacks in this country. Mm. And number 3, we are looking at laxity on the side of the prison authorities. And remember, this kind of planning needs somebody high up. Who else was involved in this? So these are very serious security breach, and action must be taken against those people that will be found to have assisted these 3 escape from Committee.
Mm. Msomali, stay on the line because I want to read what the Interior CS, Dr. Fred Matiang'i, has had to say about this. And he says preliminary investigations suggested the escape from arguably the most secured maximum prison facility in the country was abated by laxity and incompetence. More arrests and prosecutions will follow. And he adds on to say, we will not only go the direction investigations will point us, but we'll act resolutely to ensure this kind of recklessness does not happen again because it exposes our people. Definitely, there is a certain level of irresponsibility we have to deal with in this particular case. And he winds up by saying, we are all mobilized and we have sent messages across the country and all exit and possible movement points out of the country. We are going to conduct a massive manhunt for those 3. They are dangerous criminals and we have to get them and we are going to get them. Msomali, that statement by Dr. Matiang'i, do you think it sounds as a desperate government trying to, seal the loopholes of this escape?
Yeah, I agree with you, because it's not an issue of laxity you are looking at here. This is more serious than laxity on the side of the prison warders. Because as I've said earlier, these are 3 prisoners who are supposed to be under watch 24/7. They are dangerous criminals. And when we talk about laxity, why was it that any other person could have walked out of a committee? This needed elaborate planning, and as I've said, it needed cooperation from inside. So we have insiders and outsiders that were planning this escape, and they were able to execute it. So we are not only talking about laxity on the side of the warders. I'm saying, seriously, we need to look at our security apparatus, confirm that we've not been infiltrated by the Al-Shabaab. Who did the financing of this? Was corruption into play here? Those are some of the things that the minister is supposed to be talking about, not telling us about laxity. If it's an issue of laxity, then any other prison within that facility, any prisoner within that facility could have walked out. Not these 3 that were marked people and convicted terrorists.
Indeed, Msomali, let's now move forward, because it has happened. There is this bounty that is on the heads of these terror suspects. There is all, they have escaped. So moving forward, let's begin with what the security agencies in the country would need to do, because in some countries you would find out that the availability of CCTV in almost every corner of the city or the country would aid in trying to identify these people. But in an era where people are wearing face masks and CCTV is not quite, has not been invested quite heavily in this country, what are some of the hurdles that, as a security analyst and expert, the government or the DCI and other security agencies would face in trying to get these suspects?
I think when they were planning their escape, they also knew where they were heading to. And I'm telling you, seriously, it's going to be a Herculean task trying to look for these people and rearrest them. What we need now is cooperation from members of the public, because definitely these people are going to live among us. They look suspicious, and we'll need to cooperate with the security operators in assisting in apprehending these people. So members of the public should come in. Let's say you see any person who is suspicious, please report to the security agencies. And this is the link that has always been missing in our fight against terrorism. We've never used the most important tool we have at hand, which is popular intelligence. Having members of the public understand that this is a threat to us, and having them play a role in securing the country. Because we can bring in technology, but at the end of the day, technology has its limitations. But intelligence from the members of the public is key in our war against terrorism. Let us use it.
Msomali, you bring in an important point which I wanted to, I wanted to talk to you about, because we're in a country where even when robbery, simple robbery happens, when someone is mugged in town, Kenyans do not quite even report or appear to be, bothered about it, if you could put it that way, because even reporting such cases, or even in a neighborhood, such reports hardly happen. So how easy, or how then as a country do we arm ourselves and say that, well, these people, the 3 are on the run, and therefore whoever, if you see anything, you can have the confidence to report?
Yeah, I think what has been happening is that we've tried so many times to have members of the public participate in matters of security, but that bad relation between the public and the police is what has been our undoing. So we need to create a friendly atmosphere, a friendly environment where members of the public will feel free to work with the police, give information to the police. We started with community policing. It failed because of the poor relations between the two. We came up with Manyumba Kumi. It still did not work. So what is important right now as a country is to work into making sure that the police, members of the public, believe and feel like they are part of the security arrangements in this country. As it were right now, that is not happening. So you'll find members of the public believe that if I report to the police, then the police will sell me out. And this is what actually has really hampered our war, not only against terrorism, but even against common crime that we're witnessing in the estates.
Because in Msomali, there are those Kenyans who have raised concern because previously when some cases have been reported, when you report a case, you are then asked, then how do you know about this? You appear to be taken in as also a suspect. How do you then sort of harmonize that and bridge the gap between Kenyans reporting and the civility of the security agencies?
Yeah, we need to have a way where people will have confidence in the police. People will believe the police are there to serve them. And that is why we had the 210 Constitution moving from the police force and making it a national police service. They're supposed to give service to the people. And I think this is the right time now to relook at the whole setup again and find a way of making sure the public is willing to work with the police in the war against crime.
Msomali, let me sort of pick your mind on this whole issue because you've brought up an important point, which is, are we seeing a resurgence of Al-Shabaab infiltration again? From where you sit, it's been quite some duration of time that we haven't seen any attacks in the country. Could they have been strategizing all this while only to strike with this escape and sort of, rebuttal back again in the country?
Yeah, the security agents have been doing a good job of late, and there was a lot of sharing of intel, and that is why I believe so many terror attacks have been thwarted before they even happen. But that does not mean that 100% we've dealt with terrorism. Terrorism changes its face. It evolves. They will go. We have what we call sleeper cell. They will do their groundwork, and when they will strike like never before. So I believe the planning of this escape from committee was something that has taken time. It has taken financial resources. It has taken people infiltrating the security system at committee. We've talked about corruption. So there are so many elaborate steps that have been taken before this escape happened. And that is the same way that they carry out terror attacks. So we need to be on the lookout as a country, be on the lookout as a people, and be on the lookout as security agencies. We need to work together.
Msomali, as you bring this conversation to a close, because these people have, of course, they had a destination where they were headed, and they would, for instance, theoretically or even hypothetically, integrate with the community wherever they go. So to some, or rather, wherever they may go, while they may be terror suspects and convicts in the eye of the government, to their families and friends, they still remain their family members